My name is Rebecca Lowell, and I'm with the Library of Congress Veteran History Project. Bellevue University is a sponsor of the Nebraska Vietnam Veteran Memorial Foundation. I am here at the 38th Annual Nebraska Vietnam Veteran Reunion with Marine Corps veteran Bud Knutson, who has agreed to share his story for the History Project and the Nebraska Vietnam Veterans Memorial Foundation. Bud, let's begin with your full name and where you were born.
Stuart William Knutson. I was born in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Were you raised there?
I was not raised there. I was raised in Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay. Tell me about your family.
I forgot what I have two brothers. I'm the third. And a sister.
Okay. And did any of them, your parents, did anybody serve in the military?
My dad was in the Navy in World War II.
Okay. How did your parents or your siblings feel about you joining the service?
Not happy, especially my dad when I joined the Marine Corps.
Okay. Did you graduate from high school in Omaha?
Yes.
Okay. Were you employed or did you have a job before you joined the military?
I did not.
Okay. Did you enlist or were you drafted?
I enlisted.
Okay. Why did you choose the Marine Corps?
I just like the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps I don't know, something about it,
Okay.
I went to uniforms last time, but I like the Marine Corps uniform too.
Okay. Who did you leave behind when you joined up?
My family,
Okay.
my girlfriend at the time.
Okay. Where did you go to boot camp at?
MCRD with San Diego, California.
Okay. And then did you take any advanced training?
Just ITR up at Camp Pendleton for infantry training.
Okay. What was the best part of your training and what was the worst part?
Best part with my training was, it was all good, but the worst part was, humping hills and carrying that equipment, up the hills, and that was tough.
Okay. And as you were infantry, what were your qualifications with weapons?
I fired expert at the rifle range. All the weapons that we got familiarized with a lot of weapons. I can't remember all of them, but.
Okay. What was the hardest part about training?
I don't think it was all that hard, I have to throw this in there. My grandson's in the Marine Corps right now. He just joined and he's at Cherry Point. And when I went out to his graduation this last year, he said he loved it. I said nobody loves boot camp. But you did too.
I think that when you go to boot camp, and you like me were very young,
Yeah.
and you go to boot camp and you don't realize what you're capable of.
Correct.
Until you complete Marine Corps boot camp.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. Do any of you instructors stand out as particularly good, bad, or?
No, I was never in the Marine Corps. When you're in boot camp, you toe the line or you get picked out and you get picked on.
Right. Okay. What was the hardest part of military life to adapt to?
What I say last time, I can't remember.
You did like getting up early.
Well, that was getting up early. Yeah, that was one of them. I'm sure there's more, but.
What did you find the easiest about serving in the Marine Corps?
I liked going to mess hall. I love going to mess hall.
Okay. All right. You got a draft letter after you had already enlisted.
I did. In fact, I joined, and then I was already in Vietnam when my dad wrote me and told me they drafted me.
Okay. Right. When did you arrive in Vietnam?
October of, I don't know exact date. It was October of 67.
Okay. What part of Vietnam were you in?
I flew into Da Nang. From Da Nang, I flew into Da Ha, and then that's where my rear area was. And then from Da Ha, I went up north. I spent most of my time in the field up in the DMZ. Caisson. I ended up with the 26th Marines at Caisson Offensive in '68, and so I seen a lot of action.
How long were you there?
I spent the full 13 months.
Okay. Did Did you form any particular friendships while you were serving there?
I did. I had a good friend, Vincent.
Mhm.
I'm going to keep my composure this time, I hope.
You can do it.
Vincent was a real close friend of mine. We were in the field for a long time together till somehow his family worried about him, and somehow he ended up being the colonel's driver, which, you know, he's with the colonel, you're in the rear most of the time, probably, but he was bringing mail out one day in the Jeep, and he got hit with a recoilless rifle, and of course lost his leg and died in shock.
Oh.
And I was always real close to him, you know, and he'd write letters to his family and talk about me and vice versa. And when he passed away, let me see, I'm losing track here. His family kept writing me after he passed away, you know. And then we'd always told each other if something happened to one of us, we'd go visit the family, which 17 years later, I went to New York. My uncle's a New York sergeant on the police department there, and he lived in Long Island, and we went to Jamaica, New York, and visited family and spent the day with them and drank coffee, and then we drank their wine. And then, of course, Uncle Dick drove back because he probably figured he had a little pull if we got pulled over.
Okay. When you were over in Vietnam, how did you stay in touch with family and friends back home?
By letter.
By letter.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you do anything for recreation while you were there?
In Vietnam, no, you know, well, of course, you get your R&Rs. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I got an R&R to Bangkok, Thailand, in my tour, and then I had a friend that I knew back in the office, and I got another R&R to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. You know, but don't pass that on because you're only supposed to have one R&R. And then, of course, I had a R&R at China Beach in Da Nang.
Okay. Was there something that you or people in your unit did for good luck or protection or safety? Did they have any superstitions?
Yeah, we had the sea rations. All we ate, sea rations. If you got a hot meal, that was great, but that didn't happen. And apricots. Nobody would eat apricots because if you got apricots, you were done.
Wow.
I ate all the apricots. I love fruit.
You're not done.
And I'm still here. And nobody would eat ham and lima beans. They would you'd go to a perimeter and there'd be all these ham and lima beans they threw out of the sea rations. Nobody wanted to eat them. I ate them all. I loved them.
Okay. Now, after after Vietnam, do you recall when you returned from Vietnam?
I do.
Where were you? What did it feel like to get that?
I left in
notice?
Travis Air Force Base. You know, I'll start from when I got into Da Nang. You know, we went to Da Nang and then caught a Continental Airlines was flying then, and we got on that airplane, and you know they come down, they went them off the ground quick, and they loaded us so fast on that plane, and that thing that just was gone like that, and everybody was real quiet because until the pilot come on and said, "We're clear." I think he said something like, "We're clear. We're out of rocket fire range," or something like that.
3,000.
Whatever it was,
Yeah.
and the plane just roared. Like the people inside just roared, you know. 'Cause that's scary, you know, you can still get shot down.
Absolutely.
And then we landed in Okinawa for 2 weeks to get our uniforms in order and everything before we flew back to Travis.
Okay. When you got back to Travis and you entered into the civilian area in your uniforms, how were you received?
Not very well. People were, it isn't like it is today, you know. People were kind of just looked down at you. I felt that they did, you know.
And did you have more time to serve after you?
Yes,
left Vietnam?
I ended up at, I was a weapons instructor at Edson Range. I ended up being a coach and then a PMI at Edson Range for 2 years.
Okay, where's
So,
that at?
It's at Camp Pendleton, California.
Okay.
That's the recruits' training, rifle training.
Okay. All right. How did your family and your local community, when you got out of the service, how did your family and your local community treat you? How did you?
I think most my friends and family, they treated me well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you use the GI Bill or any other services?
I did use the GI Bill, and I took heating and air conditioning, and I didn't even follow up in that trade. I ended up building homes the rest of my life, you know.
Okay.
I mean, I'm still in the trades, but I was,
Right.
you know.
Okay. Are you still in touch or in touch with friends that you served with in Vietnam or otherwise in the military?
I am. I got a friend that lives, Eric Schrader, lives in Kentucky.
Okay.
And this is a good story. I'm going to tell it because
All right.
we were outside Quezon on a patrol because our other squad got hit from a pillbox on top of a hill.
Mm-hmm.
So we went out because a couple of them got shot up. In fact, one was a Filipino kid, and I always told Flip, don't be a point man because he was Oriental.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I don't want the wrong guy to shoot you, you know. Well, he had his hand up here and shot his finger off the pillbox, you know, and he shot one of his fingers off. I don't remember which one it was, but so we went out to get them. Then my lieutenant, he wanted to always be in the front. He got shot in the legs, and guys beside him, and I was over on the other side of the hill, and I was throwing grenades, but I thought I was throwing them at the pillbox, the bunker up there, where they were going over the bunker, and Bernie Cabral was on their side of the bunker, and he's yelling, Newt, you're throwing their grenades at me. But then Eric Schrader was right 10 feet away from me. He got shot in the head.
Oh.
In the helmet. I got the picture of the helmet and everything. But I went over there and I thought he was dead. I rolled him over and took his helmet off. Well, he woke up. The bullet went in his helmet and hit his head, just scraped the side of his head and knocked him out. And I said, Eric, you have to send this helmet home. We're in a firefight, and I'm telling him to send the helmet home.
You gotta save this.
That's a true story, and that was, he's a good friend.
Yeah. Okay.
I had another guy, Paige, which lived in Maine. He came down and visited, stayed at our place for a few days, and him and his wife. And I haven't heard from him for a while, but just a few here and there, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think that your military service changed the way you relate to other people, the way you work, did it have a bearing on
Yes.
how you conducted the rest of your life?
Yes.
What are some of those jewels of?
I'm more responsible. I think I am. I don't want to look at her. She might. But I think the military changed me a lot. I grew up for sure. You know.
Did you join any veteran organizations?
Yeah, I belong to the DAV, the VFW, the Legion, and that's it.
Okay.
I still belong to all of them.
Okay. Do you attend reunions?
Yes, I've been to every one of these reunions except for when my daughter and my son got married, August 7th, but different years, and we missed the very first one. So we've been to 35 of them.
Okay. Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
On your readjustment to civilian life. Now you mentioned you went to school and then you became a builder,
right,
or anything like that. How long would you think it took you to demilitarize?
After the war?
After the war or after your service?
I don't think it took me long. Well, I mean, you know, when I got out, my captain at Ditson Range, he asked me to, if I was interested. I can't remember what the bonus was, and he was interested in they want you to re-up, you know. And I asked him, point blank, I says, where's my next duty station? Because we only had a 2-year duty station and moved on. And he said, well, you'll have to do another tour in Vietnam. I says, well, I think I'm going to go home. I wasn't going back.
Yeah.
Because after I got wounded that one time, that was enough, you know.
Tell us about you getting wounded.
I got shrapnel from rocket fire outside Quezon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you disabled for any period of time? Were you laid up?
To be honest with you, I got medevac to Fubai, and I'm a MASH unit there, and I woke up, and I don't know why I was out, what happened there, but I just remember waking up, and there was an Oriental in a cot next to me, and I thought I was in a prison. I thought I was a POW. I mean, it scared me that bad. And I don't know, I lost track of that, and all he was doing was just smiling at me. You know, he's laying there smiling at me. That sticks in my mind. But he was a Cambodian.
Okay.
And he was just you know, he was a good guy, I guess. But well, they wouldn't have put him next to me if he wasn't a good guy.
Okay. Did you serve any time as a POW then?
No.
No. Okay. Now that you've been back for a while, did you get in touch with the VA immediately when you got out?
No, I did not.
No? How long did it take you to...
Gosh, I think it was maybe, 20 years maybe before I went to the VA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you, when you got out, did you have your physicals or anything like that? Did you have any exposure to the VA back then?
When I got out,
Yeah.
did I that? I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you couldn't compare, but I'll say from the time you started service with the VA, do you think it's improved? It's gotten worse? It's gotten better?
Oh,
it's
the
having
VA?
Growing pains? Yeah.
I think the VA is great.
Okay.
No, I really do. I think they've done very well by me. As far as when I go in there, you know, they take care of me. You know, they've just been good.
Okay. What are some of the life lessons that you learned from your military service?
I don't know how to answer that. Life lessons. Like, give me an example.
Well, for instance, I would say, you know, I learned to do a job wholeheartedly, not to slack off, not to let somebody else
That's
do
for
it.
sure. You know, you learn to be dependable and be on time, and you know, it's just, you know, when you're young, you don't do that.
Right.
You know.
Do you think that it contributed to a life where you were physically fit? Did that carry on into your...
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But now I used to like to run, and I can't run anymore because I had to have a knee replacement, of course. And I, you know, getting older too, and I still go to the gym. Me and her both go to the gym. But like I'm got to have back surgery here and recently. You know, that's killing me. But I got to do it. You know.
Gotta do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you consider yourself a patriot?
Oh yes.
Okay. When you think of patriotism, what does it mean to you? What are some of the things that you think demonstrate your patriotism?
I believe in, you know, standing in God. I believe in saluting the flag. I believe in standing for the flag. I don't appreciate anyone kneeling when playing the national anthem. Upsets me. You know, I'm just an all-American kid.
If somebody in the future, if you have grandchildren,
I do.
okay,
I got 7 of them.
your grandchild is looking at your video, they're saying, "Wow, that's my grandpa." Are there any particular messages or thoughts that you would like to leave them with?
No, I don't know. You know, sometimes like I got my grandson in the Marine Corps now. You know, I worry about that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, the way things are in this world right now, they're not too stable.
No.
And he went into aviation, and, you know, which is good, and could be good, and could be bad, but, you know, I'm glad he went into aviation instead of infantry. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But he would have liked infantry better. Because he likes to work out, you know, and he liked boot camp, so that's a good thing.
What are your feelings, like you were in the Vietnam War, and now we've had Desert Storm, and now we've had Afghanistan, and we're looking at Russia, who's invading the Ukraine. How has your experience changed the way or affected the way you look at war?
I don't like war. I don't want my kids or my grandkids to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
I just, it's bad. It really is. I've seen some very bad things over there, you know, and they're not going to be any different if we get into a war again, especially with the troops underground.
Right.
You know, God, it's just, I can go back to so many things that happened over there, you know, you kind of put them out of mind. You try to put them out of mind. I try to, because I got to move on, you know.
Right.
And I just, I remember going out and bodies laying all over. I was telling her one time that we were up outside Quezon, and we got in a big firefight, but these bodies, we didn't know they were out there from another firefight. and they were North Vietnamese Army, the NVA. The maggots. They didn't even pick their bodies up, and the maggots are crawling through their bodies and everything, laying out there. It's pretty gross, and the smell's awful.
I'm sure.
But they couldn't get up there to get their own people's bodies, probably because we were there.
Right. When you see these service members now coming back from Afghanistan or from the desert or whatever, when you look at them, what does that do for you? How does that affect you?
I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them.
Have you taken an honor flight?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Compared to coming back from Vietnam, how different was it to come back on an honor flight?
I never really thought of it, about that way. Vietnam was a little bit, I think it was different coming back from Vietnam than it was coming back from the honor flight. It was kind of neat that all the people at the airport and greeted us, after we got back from the honor flight. When I came back from Vietnam, there was nobody, my parents and her, that's all was there.
Right. And then when somebody, these videos are going to be with the Library of Congress. They're going to be everywhere, and some kid comes and looks at your video. What would you want them to know?
I don't know how to answer that. That's Linda. She's the cook at our VA. She's coming to get all these presents.
Okay.
Yeah. Where was we?
Well, I was talking about somebody you don't even know is going to look at your video. A young high school student is looking and say, "What was the war in Vietnam about?" or whatever. If they're looking at your video, what would you want them to glean from it?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Vietnam War was, what was it for? Nobody ever really knew. What are we fighting this for?
Mm-hmm.
And all these people losing their lives for nothing. That's the way I felt. I still feel that way.
Okay.
I feel that way with Afghanistan. We're sending all these kids over. My son-in-law, he was in the which one was he in? Desert Storm.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't see any action like we did in Vietnam.
Right.
But still, I don't wish that on anybody.
Okay. For veterans as a whole, okay, I know, growing up and stuff, and you see a veteran and everything, and I know, I'm more aware. But for veterans as a whole, what would you want people to know that a veteran has endured or is willing to endure, or why should we honor our veterans?
We should honor our veterans because they're fighting for this country, for us to walk these, like we do now, free.
Right.
If nobody's going to fight for us, look at some of these other countries. I would love everyone to go in the military and go over to a third world country for just a month. They'll start appreciating this country.
Right. How do you feel about the influx of other peoples into our country right now?
I don't like this at all. It's all right if they come in legally. I have no problem with that. Mm-hmm. But the way the things are going with all over they're coming across the border, but they're not all the Hispanic people,
Right.
And I don't blame those people. They want what we have.
Life.
I understand that completely. But let's do it the right way, And then China, they got Chinese people coming across now and everything, And like I say, I have nothing against any of these people, but I feel sorry for a lot of them. I really do.
Okay. All right. Is there anything that you would like to talk about that we haven't yet?
I have to think. There's so much to talk about, but some things I just don't want to talk about.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna get another question
That's
here.
fine.
For the pillbox firefight, was that through the Sparrowhawk?
Through the what?
Was it like a Sparrowhawk? Were you guys on like standby to help?
No, I was at Case on Siege. I don't know if you know about that.
I
Case on
do.
Siege. I got stuck there with our 4th Marines. Some of us got stuck in there with the 26th Marines.
Was that January, February?
That was January in '68. I think our 70 days we were on that base. We couldn't get off. We had to have all our C rations dropped in by C-130s by parachute because they couldn't even land. My bunker was here, and that plane landed, and they actually blew the front of the plane off when it came down, and killed the pilots right there behind my bunker. And then my bunker had a rocket that came down in our bunker, and it's all sandbag. Well, it was a dud. And it came through the deal, and it was right. Looked up, and it was right there. Well, we didn't take it out. We just left it alone, and stayed there the whole time with that rocket. And it was pretty good size. But that was I lose track when I'm talking.
Take your time.
We went back to Vietnam. Me and my wife went back in 1999. We toured from Hanoi all the way down to Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City. And that was hard for me to go back to Quezon. Oh, God darn it.
Okay.
But I pulled up a picture at Contian. This is 30 years later. And you could tell the image on there, if it was somebody's girlfriend and them, and it was still there. Digging up beer cans, Budweiser, where you had to use a church key. Mm-hmm. And batteries, because we left those bases, we literally buried everything. At Quezon, when after we left that base, they came in with bulldozers and they buried some tanks. They buried everything because they couldn't get it out of there.
Right.
But where we were there, the Vietnamese were digging this stuff up for scrap metal and selling it. And I caught her looking, and they were digging a hole, and she looked over, and you all right, honey? They looked over, and she's bent over looking in a hole where there's a mortar around there digging out for scrap metal, about 3 foot dud. And she's bent over looking down there. I said, "Get away from that thing." She didn't realize,
Right.
but it was still a third world country. When you get up there, and you took her in those villages, and they're living in grass huts, and this is why I say the kids today need to go. Everyone should serve in the military at least a couple years. Mm-hmm. If they go to a third world country, they'll stand for the flag here.
I know. I was stationed in Guam.
Okay.
And we would go boonie stomping, and the amount of World War II unexploded munitions was just amazing. How many? Because so much of the island is still uninhabited, and it's just it's just funny.
And outside Contian, because I was stationed at Contian, that was on DMZ, and we had that all minefield in front of there. Oh, you want to get the door? There was all minefield there. Well, while we were there, a water buffalo stepped on a mine, killed him. And our guide, because I don't like tours. We had a guide that with us. A colonel got me this trip, so I really appreciated that. But he said that happens all the time. Because the animals, they don't know,
Yeah.
But and a lot of they're still driving our Jeeps and our trucks over there. I don't know now, but 99 they were. In fact, I sat in Daha, and this is a true story. I'm drinking a beer with my guide, and in front of the X-Beer, whatever it was, and a 1969 or whatever, 67 Mustang drives by.
Oh wow.
Taxi cab yellow. I said, "You're kidding me." He says, "No." He says, "It don't have the original motor." He said, "They put other motors in them, like from wherever, I don't know." But it drove by. But I said, "Well, how's it get here?" He says, "Colonels and stuff like that used to bring these cars over." You know, ain't that something? I never do that either.
Oh,
You know, they're in the rear areas. I guess they could drive what they want.
okay. Do you have just a funny story that just, from any of your time in the service, that just tickles you when you still think of it?
Yes, I suppose I could tell this one. When I got back from Vietnam, I could tell that one.
Yeah?
Me and a buddy of mine, he's a retired Omaha policeman now, but we went out drinking. I think he had a 53 Chrysler with an orange top, black with an orange top, and he says, "Let's go out and let's just get drunk, bud." I said, "Okay." So we had like $2 on us. We didn't have any money, you know. I said, it wasn't very much. We went and bought a gallon of Valley High wine. We got drunk, and I don't even know how I got back to the barracks, but I got back there and I woke up the next morning and my boxer shorts were all pink and wet. And I said, "Oh no, I peed the bed pink." And what I did was spilled the wine all over me. I didn't pee the bed. I realized that's what happened. Because, the shorts were wet, but my bed wasn't wet.
That's funny.
But that was a good one.
Did you save those pink boxer shorts then?
No, I have no idea what happened to them.
Okay. Well, Bud, it has been wonderful listening to your story, and I want to thank you for taking the time to share your story.
Thank you.
With us
I'm
today.
sorry I lost it there for a minute, but sometimes it gets to me,
That is
Yeah.
your story.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I have one thing.
Uh-huh.
I went to the wall what was it? Last year we were out in Washington, so I went back to the wall. And I'd always look up Vincent Sentinel with my friends. I got a lot of them on their on the wall there, but I always especially wanted to see his. And a gal come up to me and she was working the wall and she pulled up these pictures that his parents had sent in. And then 18 pictures that she sent there, and I had never seen them before. And she's going through them, and it's pictures of me and him together, most of them. I'd never seen any of these pictures till then. It just made my day,
Did you get copies?
Yeah,
of
I got them. I
pictures?
got them on my phone.
Oh,
But
nice.
I told Sherry I'd like to get hard copies of them,
Yep. Plug your phone in and print them off.
There you go.
All right.
I let her do that. I don't do.
What are the chances?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a chance she come up and asked me if there's anything she could do for me, and I said, well, I was just looking for Vincent, and she, for some reason, she pulled all that up on her phone, and she said, well, we have pictures here, and I said, really? So she pulled all those pictures up, and I've never seen them before. They were pictures he had taken and sent back home,
And that's the nice thing about our memorial is somebody can look at your name and get all of your information and find out what you've been up to.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Bud.
Thank you.